final working set. When I like raise it back like that. I'm finishing off today's workout with a little bit of backward walking. Um, did a bunch of like functional stuff today. Pretty much full body. Started off with some hypertrophy-ish exercises and, hypertrophy exercises, what would be considered traditional bodybuilding, so to speak. Just did like 2 supersets of that and then went into some functional movements. A lot of forearm dominant stuff, a lot of kettlebell stuff. I kind of wanted to keep a theme of like kettlebell, so I did do a lot of kettlebell stuff, but superset with other stuff. Maybe in the future I'll make like a full kettlebell dedicated workout. Maybe today or tomorrow, or not today, but maybe tomorrow or day after tomorrow. But yeah, just finishing off with some backward walking. Just got started on here. Gonna do it for like 30 minutes. And this is gonna be, I guess, part 1 of my cardio. And then I'm gonna finish off with at least 20 minutes in the sauna where I'll try to do some stretching, some knees over toes exercises. I usually do like most of my calves and stuff, all body weight stuff in the sauna. I'll just like superset back to back till I get tired, and then do that for about 20 minutes. But yeah, today's workout, as usual, a lot of functional stuff, full body strength, and then the few hypertrophy exercises to make sure that I maintain the shape that I want to maintain. My philosophy behind all of that is your body's overall size is determined by like big strength or not big strength, I mean high weight compound exercises. You'll notice just in general people who do compound movements tend to carry a lot more muscle mass than someone who doesn't. And then on top of that, if you're able to handle heavy loads in those compound movements, then you get overall size. I'm not necessarily of the belief that a squat just translates to leg size or a bench just translates to chest size. There is an overall adaptation that takes place within the body when heavy loads are performed in a compound fashion. High growth hormone, high testosterone release, which is directed towards the entirety of the body and not just secluded to a few muscle groups. However, it is so, like, for example, you can't expect to get a massive chest from just doing squats, and you can't just get a massive legs from just doing bench. But for example, if you do something like a sled, I've probably said this so many times, but you're using your legs, you're using your shoulders to push the weight, you have to brace your core, and even if you're leaning in a certain angle, you use your chest. So like that. So compound movements can be outside the big 3, which is the deadlift, squat, and bench. Your compound movements can be in a lot of different kinds of weight, a lot of different kinds of resistance, like the landmine and stuff. And you can activate like your chest and shoulders along with your legs, etc., etc., etc. Choose movements that are, in my opinion, a little bit more optimal and functional than a bench. I'd rather do dumbbell bench than a barbell bench. A barbell bench just feels really shitty on my shoulder. But yeah, did a bunch of stuff like that. Get the overall growth hormone release. Did a lot of abs at the end. Core is really important. Did a lot of the Quadratus Lumborum, that sort of thing, which is Quadratus Lumborum being the sides. But yeah, approach training from a multifaceted, all-directional fashion, rather than just being so tied up with the programming that you see online. Like, I think it's easily digestible in your first 3-4 years of lifting. When you have no plan at all, there might be some benefits to having just a very traditional plan. But that being said, I do think traditional lifting, so to speak, reinforces a lot of imbalances. And the sooner you can get into a training scheme that does more overall recruitment of muscles and more overall recruitment of muscles and a more complete set of movements where you're not just lifting eccentric and concentric, but you're also doing explosive motions like throws. You're also doing isometric holds. You're training stuff like your forearm and neck, which is often ignored. You're training your tibialis, which is often ignored. All of these little things tend to add up over time and seem to cause imbalances and movement disabilities for people as they get older. I'm able to move now much more fluidly than I ever could, and I thank that ability to doing a lot of these exercises. I thought I was getting fit, which I was getting significantly stronger and stuff, but over time I was developing a lot of imbalances, which made me more injury prone. And I think it's best to live to lift another day. And the only way that I've found to truly stay that way is to incorporate a little bit of mobility, stretching, and all of that, and a full overall training program in your regular training instead of just chest day, back day, arm day. Anyway, that's enough for the rant. Let's get to the first working set.
I'm quiet. I'm not talking anything.
All right.
I don't even touch you.
अरे कुछ गाड़ी में मुझे डर लग रहा था. The fuck? Okay, so for the first working set, I'm doing an arm superset, doing tricep extensions to curls. Looks something like this. Using the rope grip to get a full extension, or being able to stretch the long head rather. And it allows me to flex my wrists at the bottom, which gives me an extra contraction in the tricep. Going for 10 each hand, and then I'm going to superset that with 10 together. So that was 10, and now going together. My goal today is to kind of do it. Just check the angle. Just check the angle. The goal today is to do like a full body kind of thing and try to use kettlebells for a lot of it. Is at least what I think for right now. So yeah, I'm doing the kettlebell movement for this superset being alternating kettlebell curls. Yeah. So for the next superset, doing lat pull downs but alternate, facing this way to kind of get a different angle. Holding it at the bottom to get an isometric contraction, and then alternating for 10 to 15 each side. supersetting with deadlift shoulder presses. Doing these two back to back, that's a back dominant movement, and this gets the overall like shoulders and a deadlift. So yeah, kind of sticking with the theme of full body and mixing in hypertrophy and functional stuff. But yeah, gonna do this till it feels good. Yep, all right. So for the next circuit slash superset slash tricep, I'm doing alternate single arm rows, but with a really heavy kettlebell, and well, heavy for me, and using a towel. So I'm starting with the weight on the ground, so it's like a full rest position, and doing an upright row. The weight's heavy enough to where if I do a row, it's really taxing on my forearms. And having done a bunch of grip strength work yesterday, my forearms are already a little fatigued. So it's a little bit more hard today, or harder than usual today. I'm going for 5 each hand. Going into some ball throws. Going for 15, and then immediately going into some oblique twists. But yeah, that's the next thing we're doing. That was the third set. Probably gonna do another 2 or 3. So for the next circuit, I'm starting off with a farmer carry, using the towel grips on the kettlebells to make it harder to grip, and just walking back and forth. Then going into some sled rows, one-arm sled rows, but instead of using the TRX grip, I'm wrapping the towel around it to make it harder on my forearms each time I do a row. So with the regular TRX grip, sometimes it gets a little too easy, I guess. And here, you can't just yank it willy-nilly, because your forearms will have a harder time gripping it if you do that. doing a regular forward sled push to finish the circuit. Actually, no, there's one more part of the circuit, which is ball slams. So I'm using a 30-pound ball and doing to get the heart rate high and do some explosive stuff along with all of this. Final working set. Sled rows. My forearms are dying. So moving into some core kind of stuff now. I'm going to do some obliques and lower back. For the oblique movement, I'm doing ball slams, but with a rotation, it looks like this. You have to brace your core to catch it, and you have to explode with your core to throw it. Going into unilateral back extensions. So I'm going to keep one leg outside of the hold and do 8. 8, and then switch legs. And then to finish off, I'm throwing like some one-arm push-ups, but on the surface of it. Going for 5 each side. That was the second set of that. Probably gonna do 5 sets, just like the other movements. All right. Doing some Quadratus Lumborum, which is essentially the sides. Not the rotatory muscles. I believe the rotations are the obliques, and then the side bends are the Quadratus Lumborum, although you need both to have that good oblique, or what people call the good oblique ab look. Anyway, looks something like this. Trying to get a full stretch of the side. If you do, or at least for me, and I do a long enough or deep enough stretch, I can only get like 5 good reps. And I only want to get good reps, so I'm going to do like 5 each side. Keeping my hand on the back of my head to further exaggerate the stretch that I get. That was the second set. I think I'm only going to do one more of that. Alright, so I'm recording this after the sauna. I was feeling a little bloated before that, so I didn't want that caught on camera. But yeah, my right shoulder has been feeling a little off, so I don't really feel comfortable doing like a side pose like this. Like it's starting to hurt when I like raise it back like that. I don't know. I want to like a little bit more cap delts. Like I think from the sides, like I have my body, like my body looks pretty good, but like when it's straight on, like I could use some more curve on the side to complete my physique. Then also the back. My back's probably my best asset, so to speak. It's my new favorite back pose. But yeah, just some posing for the end and for like a thumbnail. Anyway, that's it for today's video. Like the video if you like the video, subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next one.